Thank you, John. I thought I'd start by giving you a few figures on how the money we're investing in innovation is helping rejuvenate our business. These figures here show you that our recently launched products grew 28% in constant currency and now represent 35% of our total business. And these are products that are going to continue to grow well into the future. In fact, the growth of those new products was so strong, roughly 8 points, they were able to completely offset the generic inroads that we had during the year with a result of 2% net sales growth, which is well ahead of what I think many people would have expected if we roll back the clock 1 year and we were having the same meeting in January of 2012. You take a look at what's generating the majority of that growth. We have a set of products and franchises that have very good patent protection and/or exclusivity, which will allow our organization to grow well into the future. And you can see that these franchises all reported very strong double-digit growth during 2012. The biggest product on the list being Lucentis for age-related wet AMD, as well as new indications, Gilenya reaching blockbuster status for multiple sclerosis in its first year, and Tasigna, our next-generation product that is meant to eventually replace Gleevec for the treatment of chronic myeloid leukemia. Taking a quick look at Gilenya, MS has from time to time been in the news. The good news, I think, is that there are more products coming to market over time. These patients have huge unmet need, and the industry and our company is working hard to help patients have better efficacy, fewer relapses, less brain shrinkage, and less side effects from their medications. What you see is that our launch ex-US has gone extraordinarily well. Ex-US now represents 46% of the business and 67% of our growth. During the fourth quarter in the U.S., we saw encouraging signs of a reacceleration of that business, and we believe that this is a product, as I said, that has a strong growth outlook. Taking a look at Lucentis, during the year we launched new indications in diabetic macular edema, retinal vein occlusion. Those new indications now represent about 20% of the business. And we have taken a next step forward in filing a new indication called pathologic myopia that's been filed both in Europe and in Japan. What some people don't realize is that the medical need for what we call VEGF inhibitors, of which Lucentis is one, is very large. There are still many patients that are either not treated or not treated optimally. And although new competition is entering, this category will continue to expand, and we believe as a result, Lucentis has very good future prospects. Joe mentioned the approval and the launch of a new indication for hormone receptor positive, HER2 negative advanced breast cancer. This is our drug Afinitor. First breakthrough in the category in I would say the last 15 to 20 years. And as you can see with the recent launches in the US, Germany, Austria, Argentina, UK, and Canada, the acceleration of this product and the possibility to generate incremental sales of about $2 billion. In addition, we have phase 3 trials wrapping up in the second half of this year, which will show us whether or not Afinitor would also add value for breast cancer patients that have HER2 positive disease. So I would say let's watch and look for that data. The phase 2 data was quite good, so we're hopeful that the phase 3 data will replicate it. During the year, we also generated some exciting new data for the CML franchise. On this chart, what you can see is that Tasigna is a much better drug than Gleevec, and it's a much better drug than Gleevec because it's able to deliver for patients something called a complete molecular response, essentially no evidence of their disease. And based upon that achievement for patients, with 22% of them at 24 months not having evidence of disease, we have designed two very important game-changing clinical trials in chronic myeloid leukemia. One is called the eNest Freedom trial for newly diagnosed patients, and the other is the eNest Top trial for patients who were on Gleevec but did not achieve this deep molecular response, this complete molecular response. Those trials have been initiated, and what we hope And what we believe from the data generated so far is that some patients will actually be able to achieve what we call treatment-free remission. What that means is that patients will be able to discontinue their medication and experience a long period of potentially no treatment at all. Really paradigm changing, especially when you remember that before the introduction of Gleevec, these patients were getting bone marrow transplants, and they had a survival outlook that was between 1.5 and 3 years. And now we're talking about the possibility of a cure for some patients. Jakavi is a product that we licensed in from Incyte Corporation. It's a product that is initially indicated for the treatment of myelofibrosis, which is a bone disease, a bone cancer. You can see that we launched during the end of the year, and we are very, very pleased with the uptake. And this product seems like it's on track to beat its early estimates. This is the kind of product that both reduces the symptoms associated with fibrosis, so patients have less itching, their spleens can go back down to normal size, they get their energy back. But just as importantly, we've now generated data that shows a potential survival benefit for these patients, which means the patients get a lot of value from this medication, but it also means that the patient population will grow over time, which means a bigger opportunity for our company as well, as more patients are on drug over time. So very, very exciting new data. And perhaps, at least from my perspective, one of the most interesting and potentially game-changing products that are in our projects that are in our portfolio is a drug called RLX-030, or also known as serelaxin. This is a drug that has been studied in a phase 3 trial to treat acute heart failure. Acute heart failure is a very common disorder. There are about 2 million hospitalizations a year in the US and Europe alone for patients with this disease, and the outcome is almost always fatal. The only thing you can do for these patients is provide vasodilators, you can provide medicines to reduce some of the water accumulation, and essentially prop them up on pillows because they can't even sleep flat because it's so uncomfortable as they accumulate water on their lungs. In these trials, both the phase 2 trial and the phase 3 trial, we were able to show that we reduced heart failure symptoms, we had improvements in biomarkers, and a 37% reduction in mortality at 6 months. We filed early based upon positive discussions with regulators in Europe, and we've decided to file in the second quarter in the US based upon positive discussions with the US regulators. In addition, during 2013, we will do a second trial with mortality as the primary endpoint to further expand the label over time. This is a very important medicine in our portfolio, and we'll certainly keep you abreast of the developments with this product. News flow for the pharma division will be just as busy this year as last year. So if you saw a lot of press releases, it's because we had a lot of positive phase 3 results, filings, and approvals. And I think it will be, if I had to look forward to 2013, it will be very much the same. Some of the biggest pieces of regulatory news, I won't take you through it now, but they're listed on this chart for your information. And it really speaks to, once again, the possibility at Novartis of taking our R&D money and turning it into commercial success, products that really make a difference for patients and ones that we can use to offset generics on products like Diovan and keep our business growing well into the future so we can continue that cycle of investing in R&D and innovation. And with that, I'll turn it back to Joe.
Thanks, David.
Good.